6.
Good evening. A housing bill moving through Congress could impact more than monthly payments. It could change who gets a shot at even buying a home.
Tonight, First Alert 6, Brenna Kiefner looks at why part of the national debate is getting attention here in Omaha. Brenna.
Yeah, Brian and Jacqueline, one part of this bill would actually limit large investors from buying single-family homes. And supporters say that can matter in Omaha, where housing advocates say first-time buyers already face some tough competition.
For many families, the search for a home starts with a simple goal: a safe place that they can afford. But in Omaha, well-priced homes still move fast. Realtor Brad Fricky says the market has cooled since the pandemic bidding wars, but buyers still have to be ready.
It's still competitive on certain homes. As I like to say right now, properly priced homes are still very competitive and selling quickly, so you have to be prepared.
That competition is why supporters say the bill matters. NBC News reports the 21st Century Road to Housing Act would fund new housing, cut some building red tape, and restrict large institutional investors from buying single-family homes. The investor provision targets the kind of houses first-time buyers often seek: homes that can be bought quickly, in cash, and turned into rentals. Here in Omaha, that is not just a national talking point. In 2019, Flatwater Free Press reported Vinebrook Homes bought about 250 houses in the metro after entering the market, with roughly 2/3 of its Douglas County homes in North Omaha. They also reported North Omaha home sales jumped 80% between 2020 and 2021. Corporate ownership of homes is one factor that has increased pressure on local people looking to buy their first home.
Of the last few homes that we've sold one to an OPS teacher, we've sold another one to a registered nurse, and these are people with good credit scores that are working hard because of the prices of housing and things like that. It's just becoming harder and harder for your average person to be able to buy a home.
HomeWoven works to create and preserve homeownership through repairs, buyer support, and workforce development. Clements says that includes down payment assistance, home rehabs, and new homes for lower income buyers. And he says the demand for that help is growing.
You can tell that things have become more challenging for people because we've had probably, I'd say, at this point last year, I'd say we've had probably twice as many people reach out for our program than we're.
The Senate bill still has to pass the House before it can reach the president's desk. But for families trying to stay in Omaha or buy into it, the question is whether policy can move as fast as the market has.
All right, Brenna, so what's next for this bill?
So it has to go to the House. If it passes in the House, it would go to President Trump's desk. And HomeWoven says locally, the need goes beyond one piece of legislation, including preserving existing homes, supporting those first-time buyers, and keeping longtime residents in their neighborhoods here. Live in the newsroom, Brenna Kiefner, First Alert 6.
Brenna, thank you. Hey, enjoy these cool